Whose hand is that? Great finds today. I got this piece in. It's the only thing I want to talk about. This particular thing, know the history of what you have, because this item, upon further research, is a prison-made item by a prisoner. This was made in Long Kesh in Northern Ireland. Northern Ireland, of course, had the Troubles, and that's where the Catholics and the Protestants, we'll call them the Loyalists and the Nationalists, were fighting each other in paramilitary groups, and they were all housed in a prison in Long Kesh. It's also known as the Maze Prison. They had the H blocks there, and they showed the H's like that. They actually were allowed to stay with their particular paramilitary group in that prison. They were almost treated as political prisoners. That's kind of the status that they had. So this particular wallet would have been made by a Loyalist prisoner, and I can tell you why in a second. And they would have put these down in the shops, perhaps in Belfast, and you would sell them for the Prisoners Association for them to raise money for them and perhaps their families of prisoners in Long Kesh. Long Kesh was ran from the 70s to the 2000s till we had the Good Friday Agreement. And a lot of these prisoners were just set free under that particular agreement. So this is an actual piece of history. You can see an example of this in the Northern Ireland Museum. You can go there. It has the same stitching. And that one has a picture of King William of Orange on his horse. And that dates back to the Battle of the Boyne in 1690, when King William of Orange defeated King James at the Battle of the Boyne. They still celebrate that today in Northern Ireland, and it is a national holiday, and that just shows you that the Irish forget nothing. They forget nothing. They're a stubborn people, which makes it great, because that's how you survive. You're stubborn people. Now, they did run into the Troubles, which this particular piece is a result of that. Now, how I know that this is the Loyalist side? Because of these three symbols. Obviously, this is the Union Jack, so they'd be loyal to the UK. They want to stay in the UK. That is what they are fighting for, to stay in the UK. This is the Red Hand of Ulster. This has a colorful history. The Red Hand, what is the Red Hand? It is actually on the flag of Northern Ireland. This is the flag of Northern Ireland. And if you ever go to Northern Ireland, you have the pleasure of talking to anyone from Northern Ireland, they pronounce it Norn Iron. They talk so fast, it's unbelievable. It is always a pleasure to talk to someone from that area, because we have a lot of our history, and a lot of the people here in this country would be from this area. A lot of the Ulster Scots, they call Northern Ireland Ulster, and a lot of Ulster Scots are Scotch-Irish. If you read about their history, there's a good book called Born Fighting by Senator Webb, who goes into that as well. A lot of our presidents, like Daniel Boone, Davy Crockett, a lot of these guys came from that general area. They are a people that go out, and the name of that book is called Born Fighting, and that is still true today. But the Red Hand. Now, this dates back to probably the 13th century in the O'Neills. There is some controversy on who first came up with the Red Hand, or is it the right hand of God, or it could be numerous anything. There's also the legend there, if you go there, and you will hear the story about two chieftains who were racing towards the shore. Whoever got to shore, they got to claim the land. One of the chieftains was losing, and he cut off his right hand and threw it on the shore. That is dedication. That is dedication. So this would have been from the Loyalist side. This is the same prison that you had the hunger strikers. That would have been the other side. The Loyalists you would have had different factions, like the UDA, the UVF, and there's all kinds of different factions in there. The Nationalist side would have been your IRA, where Jerry Adams was in there, and some different organizations as well. So they were allowed to operate in kind of military units there, and they had all kinds of things. There were some famous escapes from there. It has a long, colorful history. On the Loyalist side, you would have had Michael Stone, who actually went into a funeral in Milltown and tried to kill as many people as he could, and that was one of the most well-known things of the Troubles, where he went in by himself and did that. He ended up in the Maze prison as well. He was let out, and he did something again, so he's back in prison. But a lot of those guys got let out. So when you get a piece like this, there's so much history in just this little piece. I don't even care what it's worth, because this piece of history, who made it, would have, if we could find out who made it, it'd be even more interesting, because there was some famous people who were involved in that, and we can narrow it down to one side. That's pretty easy from this particular, what they have on this wallet. But know what you have, find out what you have. You may have a museum piece in your possession. Now, I think this is in just great shape. It was actually personalized there. They would make different ones with different symbols. All of them would have been Loyalist symbols or names. There is one with Gusty Spence, who started the UVF, and there's just so much history in that small, tiny little country. We have so many presidents that came from there. We have just the amount of culture and influence from that little island. So when you get in something, do your research, find out the history. This has been around since at least the 13th century. You know that now. This flag has been around for 100 years this year. This is a piece of history. This was prisoner made in Northern Ireland at Long Kesh by a Loyalist prisoner. And hopefully the piece is on there and they can live in peace now. I have been to Northern Ireland many times, and I know that there's a lot of different things going on. They now have a Titanic museum and a Titanic Hilton. If you get the chance, take the time and go visit that wee tiny country. You can fit that whole island in most states in America. You could probably fit 10 of them inside of Texas. So thanks for watching. Do your research. Find out. And you'll be happy that you did.